I help people just like you relocate to Maui for a living. And in that work, I keep seeing the same expensive mistakes made by buyers who did everything right on paper, toured the island, fell in love, made the move, and still got blindsided by things nobody told them. So if I were buying a home or condo in Maui right now and relocating within the next 6 months, here are the 7 things I wish someone had told me. And number 4 on my list is one that catches almost every mainlander completely off guard, even the ones who thought they did their homework. I'm Jason Marcos, your Maui real estate specialist, and I work with buyers relocating to Maui from the mainland, from everywhere in the world, every single week. I see firsthand what surprises people, what costs them money, and what makes the differences between a move that transforms someone's life and a move that sends them right back to where they're from within 2 years. So if you're new here, subscribe because I put out real, honest, data-backed content about Maui real estate and Maui living every single week. No sugarcoating, just the information you need to make a smart decision. Today's video is exactly that. Let's get into it. This video is for the person who is serious. You are not daydreaming about moving to Maui. You are actively planning a move. Maybe you have already started looking at listings. Maybe you have visited a few times and you have a neighborhood in mind. Either way, you are within 6 months of making one of the biggest financial and lifestyle decisions of your life. Right now in 2026, the Maui real estate market is more buyer-friendly than it has been in 4 years. Inventory is up, sellers are negotiating, and buyers who are prepared are getting deals that simply were not possible. But being prepared means more than having a budget and a pre-approval. It means understanding the rules, the costs, the laws, and the realities of the island that are genuinely different from anything you have experienced in your hometown. The buyers who know these 7 things before they move pay less and stay longer. The ones who don't find out the hard way. So let me be the person who gives you the real picture. That's what I'm here to do. So let's get into it. 7 things I wish I knew before moving to Maui. Number 1, the cost of living is not what you think it is. Even if you think you know, almost every buyer I work with has done some research on Maui's cost of living. Almost every one of them still underestimate it. Grocery prices in Hawaii are nearly 57% of the national average because roughly 85% of all consumer goods have to be shipped to the island. Electricity rates run between 0.38 cents and 44 cents per kilowatt, which is the highest in the nation and roughly triple the California average. A comfortable lifestyle for a couple on Maui, not luxury, just comfortable, realistically requires $2,000 to $3,000 more per month before you factor in housing. The median home price in Maui County right now did drop to less than 1.1 million. That is not the median, not Wailea, not Kapalua, the whole island. What this means for you is that your mainland budget projections need to be rebuilt from scratch using Maui numbers, not adjusted up by a percentage. The buyers who do this before they move arrive grounded. The ones who don't arrive stressed. Number 2, every side of this island is a different island, so choose carefully. Maui is 727 square miles, and it has dramatically different climates, communities, and lifestyle rhythms depending on where you are. The sunny, dry south and west sides, Wailea, Kihei, Lahaina, and Kapalua, are completely different from the lush green north shore and upcountry, which is completely different again from central Maui and Wailuku and Kahului. Kula upcountry sits at 2,500 feet elevation and runs about 10 degrees cooler than the coastal year-round. The North Shore in Haiku gets nearly 80 inches of rain per year, and Kihei on the South Shore gets 12 inches. These are not minor differences, they are different way of living. What this means for you is that choosing your neighborhood on Maui is not like choosing a neighborhood on the mainland, where you can move across town if something doesn't feel right. On an island, your community, your climate, and your daily rhythm are all determined by that same decision. So spend real time in each area before you commit, not just a vacation, but a week at a rental in the neighborhood you are seriously considering, living like a resident, not a tourist. Number 3, fee simple and leaseholds are not the same thing, and one of them will cost you. On the mainland, when you buy a property, you own the land and the building. That is simply called fee simple. In Hawaii, Roughly 8% of condo listings operates on a leasehold structure, which means you own the unit, but you are leasing the land underneath it from a separate landowner. So when you see that $200,000 to $300,000 listings, give me a call first. Often a large estate or trust. Leasehold term typically run 55 to 65 years. Ground rents can be negotiated at intervals, sometimes dramatically increasing your costs. Many lenders will not finance a leasehold property that has fewer than 20 years remaining on that lease, which can devastate resale value as the expiration approaches. And leasehold properties are often listed at a lower price, and that discount will look appealing. But it comes with a long-term risk that most mainlanders do not fully understand until they are under contract. What that means for you is always confirm fee simple versus leasehold before you fall in love with the listing. Most Maui homes and the majority of condos are fee simple, but in certain older buildings and complexes, leaseholds are still on the market, and your agent should be able to identify it immediately. Now, number 4 is the one I told you about the top of this video that catches almost every mainlander off guard. We're right here. But first, if you are actively planning your move to Maui right now and you want someone who can walk you through all of this for your specific situation, text me at my number below. Tell me your timeline, tell me your budget. I answer every message personally and within 24 hours. All right, number 4, the property tax structure on Maui is unlike anything on the mainland, and not filing the right paperwork at the right time will cost you thousands. Maui's property tax system is tiered, and your rate depends entirely on how you use the property and how much it costs, whether it's your primary residence, secondary home, or rental. If you buy a home on Maui, move in, and file the homeowner exemption by December 31st of that year, your property tax rate on a home assessed under 1.3 million drops to just $1.65 per $1,000. On a $1 million home, that's $1,650 per year. If you do not file, or if you're not a primary resident, that same home will jump at a tier at $5.87 per thousand and climbs to $17 per thousand for properties assessed over 3 million. The homeowner's exemption also reduces your taxable assessed value by $300,000. And here's the deadline most people miss. You must file by December 31st, and you must also have filed Hawaii state income tax with the Maui County address the year before. What that means for you is that the paperwork you file in your first months on Maui or fail to file directly determines your tax bill for the entire next year. That is not something to figure out after you close. It is something you plan for before you make an offer. Number 5, Maui short-term rental laws that changed in 2025. And buying the wrong property could leave you with a condo you cannot legally rent short-term. Many buyers come to Maui thinking they will purchase a condo, rent it short-term on Airbnb like the one they just stayed in while they are not using it, offsetting the carrying costs, and arrive for a few weeks each year. That strategy worked on Maui for years, but right now in 2026, rules are changing rapidly, and you have to be on top of it. The Maui County signed Bill 9 and Bill 88, which are two very different bills and very important. The West Maui units in this category ends short-term rentals use entirely by January 1st, 2029, and the South Maui units and other parts of the island at a later deadline coming near 2031. But they are specifically zoned for different uses, hotel zone and apartment use. If you buy a condo in the wrong building and you cannot legally rent it for short term, regardless of what previous owners were doing. What this means for you is that before you make an offer on any Maui condo with the intention of using it as a vacation rental, your agent must verify the zoning, the permitting status, and the current legal use of that specific unit. This is not optional due diligence. In today's Maui market, it is the most important question to ask before you write that check. Number 6, use local Hawaii lender, not your mainland bank. This is one of the most common and most expensive assumptions mainland buyers make. Your existing relationship with a bank on the mainland does not translate to a smooth Maui closing. Non-primary residence purchases on Maui, secondary homes, and investment properties typically require 20 to 30% down. Mainland lenders often do not understand Hawaii's condo project approval requirements, leasehold financing restrictions, or the appraisal challenges that may come from a market where comparable sales can be genuinely scarce. Deals have fallen apart at the closing table, not mine, because a mainland lender did not flag a condo project ineligible issue until it was too late. A local Hawaii based lender knows the market, knows the buildings, and knows what documentation Maui escrow and title process requires. What this means for you is to get pre approved with a Hawaii approved lender before you start seriously touring properties. Not just pre qualified, pre approved. The difference matters in this market, and your offer will be taken more seriously by sellers when your financing is backed by someone local. Number 7, moving to Maui is a lifestyle decision before it is a real estate decision. The number one reason people leave Maui within their first 2 years is not the cost, though that does play a role. It is the realization that living here is genuinely different from vacationing here. And they did not be honest with themselves. Maui is 2,500 miles from the nearest continent. Roughly 85% of everything you consume was shipped here. You'll be flying 5 to 6 hours to visit family on the mainland, unless you get them to move here. There is no late night Amazon delivery. The pace of life is slower by design, what locals call Maui time or Hawaii time. And that pace is either profound relief or a source of daily friction, depending on who you are. What this means for you is do the honest self audits before you move. Are you someone who draws energy from land, water, community, and pace? Then Maui will give you something the mainland cannot. Are you someone who needs the constant stimulation of a major city? The options, the energy, the conveniences? That buyer exists too, and there is no shame in knowing which one you are before you sign. So now, you know the 7 things most mainland buyers don't figure out until after they've already moved. The real cost of living, the neighborhood decisions, fee simple versus leasehold, the property filing tax you cannot miss, the short-term rental law changes in 2025, why your mainland lender will slow you down, and the lifestyle audit that nobody talks about but everyone needs to do. Knowing all of that is a real head start, but knowing it and having someone in your corner who can apply it to your specific situation, your timeline, and your budget are 2 very different things. That is exactly what I do every day in this market. If you are planning a move to Maui within the next 6 months and you want a real strategy, not a sales pitch, not a generic tour, but a real conversation about what makes sense for you, text the word MOVE to my number right below, and I will reach out within 24 hours and we'll get on a call and figure out which neighborhoods could fit your lifestyle. We'll walk through what your actual carrying cost looks like in 2026, the property tax structure, and make sure you're not walking into any of the 7 mistakes we just went over. The buyers who move to Maui with a plan have a completely different experience than the ones who wing it. So again, if you're ready, text MOVE to my cell phone below. Let's build yours. I'm Chaston Marcos, your Maui real estate specialist. I'll see you in the next one.